And I think it's unfair on the people that are on minimum wage because they think they're getting more for their money, but in reality, everything around them is going up. So they're not actually any better off.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
they would have been better off, staying with keeping the minimum wage where it was and just giving employees incentives. So then they would be better off, but everything else around them is just going up as well. So no one's going to be better off.
Yeah. That's something I've seen with the current the wider movement to increase the minimum wage to the living wage that's been proposed by some people. But I've recognized that through like research and stuff that the minimum wage can never meet the living wage because as soon as you increase the minimum wage, the living wage will increase. But
exactly. Yeah, you're right.
How have your employees been affected by this? Have you had to because obviously they can increase the minimum rate for hourly pay, but have you had to decrease the amount of hours that they get weekly, or?
No, I haven't changed anything. No.
Have you just have you put the cost onto the consumers more, or?
Yes, we've had to. Yeah.
Yeah. How has that increased much due to the minimum wage, or?
Well, just basically enough to cover the increase in wages. Some customers we haven't passed it on to because I know that we would lose them. We'd lose that business. So it's a real juggling act.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if it puts small businesses out of business, the way the government is putting it up, then more people are going to be unemployed and on a benefit and worse off than if the government just helps small businesses and doesn't muck up something that wasn't broken.
Yeah, how do you think, like, what do you think the government should be doing instead of do you reckon they should be targeting more working for families or something like that?
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, if you're a Labour supporter, then they're always about paying money out. I think it's probably more about education and, giving people the tools so that they can better their situations as well.
Yeah.
It's like, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. If we're constantly handing out things to people, they're never going to learn to survive for themselves.
Yeah.
It's not just minimum wage. If businesses were given a tax break with some of the other things, like the horrendous amounts of tax, GST and everything like that, if they'd give a cut to the smaller businesses to help sustain it, then that's fine. But I don't think businesses shouldn't be in business because that's exactly what I'm saying. They're trying to create a society of dependence rather than people that get out there and try and make their own money, their own way in the world, basically.
Yeah.
The government don't seem to want that. They want everyone to be dependent on them and just sit and wait, okay, the government says right. We're not in Russia or China or something like that. People should be able to be creative, entrepreneurial.
Some other business owners I've talked to, they said that considering the high price of wages, they're looking for people that already know how to do the job, and they can't really take on youth that they have to train and stuff like that. Have you experienced it?
Yeah, well, in a way, I will look at older, more experienced people now because I know they've worked hard, and you are paying a lot more. So I know that they've worked hard, they've got more experience, they'll turn up. Younger people are very, what's the word? I can't think of it.
Short-sighted?
Well, they just expect everything given to them and they're not prepared to work for it. Like, they have the attitude that, I deserve this, even though they haven't worked or there's the right to deserve a lot of the things that someone that's more established in a job has earned that right for. But, I would probably, and I have, and looked at older people rather than younger people. It's just not worth it as far as their work ethic. It's just not there, and that's probably society's issue, government's issue. They just don't have the work work ethic, they don't have the responsibility or the integrity to be able to say, I need to turn up to work every day, I need to work for what I get, rather than just like, I need a handout. I should have a CEO's income and not have to work for the thing. So it's just, they're just, people are going to lose their jobs. People are going to be unemployed. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
People will, like, actually one guy that I was speaking to the other day is probably not in a minimum wage job, but they've basically had to cut back, and so a lot of people lost jobs, and the people that remain, their workload increases. So you sort of start to look at health and safety issues and fatigue, and people getting, worn out because you're having to carry more of the load because you have to employ less people, I guess.
Yeah. That's what I saw with Vodafone, because I don't know if you saw it, but they outsourced almost all of their 2007 jobs overseas because they were trying to better their stock exchange rate or position on the stock exchange, and then people were having panic attacks back here because of all the workload.
Yeah, actually, that when you say that, I know of a lady that I think it was an insurance company, and basically everybody's been made redundant apart from a couple of people, and everything's gone offshore.
Yeah, but small businesses can't do that. It's only the big businesses that can really. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, so I mean they're going to lose loads if they don't look after small businesses. Who's going to keep the country going?
Yeah. There's 90 constitutes 97% of business in the country.
Exactly.
Cool. Have you got anything? I've finished with questions. Have you got anything else that I've missed or?
I don't think so. I just think that perhaps the government are missing the big picture, and they need to sort of educate themselves a little bit more on the effects that it's having on society.